Hi everyone, I've got to travel probably about 40 minutes to some ADI training that I'm conducting in the south of Liverpool, and we're going to do a drive, like a driving instructor video, and I'm going to be concentrating on today hazard perception. I'm going to be looking at what I look at and how I'm acting and reacting to it. So let's get started. I've got no real idea on which way I'm going to go. I'm just going to wing it as normal, but let's turn the radio off first. Let me just stick my map on. That's one thing that I always do. I don't know whether you do it. I drive with Waze on, just because it shows different problems that I might be able to alter my route. I'm not going to stick the sat nav on and follow the sat nav, but I am going to just keep glancing at it occasionally as I drive. So notice what I did before I moved off there. I checked around. There was a risk and an issue with what I couldn't see behind my fence in between mine and my neighbours. So today's all going to be about, like I said, hazard perception, but it's also going to be about adjusting speed to risk. So I can't see what's going on around the corner. My car's in warm-up mode, so it's going a little quick. So I've pressed the clutch, and I've just slowed it down. It's just being held at the bite, and I'll probably have to do the same with this corner. This next little section of my estate, it's always the same. Keep tucked to the left. I'm just going to let the black car go, only because I need this space to be able to hold back and stay in until I see round the bushes on the right-hand side. If I'd have gone into that space and another vehicle had come, it would have just blocked the road. So again, adjusted my speed to risk. Here I cannot see. Too many people just zoom out of junctions, look at the speed and look at the care that I'm taking, because risk is higher. Made sure that I was going to be okay with the lady on the left. The kid running on the right hand side is something that I'm watching, but at the moment I was just going to say, they don't seem as though they're a big problem. I'm going to turn left over the bridge. That one reversing isn't a problem. Excuse me. It's just what I see around this corner. That's totally fine. Who's coming the other way? There you go. So there was a lady there to the left hand side. How many people would have just bombed around there because it was clear to the right hand side? Even here, I'm holding back and slowing. Got the driving school car that's just parking in on the left. No worries. I'm going to show them that I'm heading round. I know that guy. So assessing risk and driving accordingly all the time. Too many people just go with routine speed. They go the same speed. They'll think of the speed limits going down this road, and all they'll do is just go the same speed every single time, every single day. No, it needs to change. It needs to adjust. People are too routine with their driving. It's got to be situational to what's going on. I had a little look at the car. Again, one of my neighbours, I know them, but notice I'm always clued in and switched on to any little areas of risk. We've got the car first of all, the Volvo coming out of the road to the right. That's all fine. The child and the parent, maybe a parent, may not be, walked into the house on the right hand side. That's okay. It is 2:45. I just had a little look at that car with the door open. The guy behind the cars on the right hand side doesn't look as though there's an issue, but my speed's going to be really slow here because the amount of parked vehicles, and I know the school, Archbishop Beck around the corner, is going to be letting out. And I can see that on my screen as well. That's why I always say drive with Waze on or something similar to allow you a heads up. Anything that can give you information that's going to allow you to think ahead of time is good. This junction up ahead doesn't look that busy. The Volvo's turning right. The guy's going to be finished. I'm going to make sure I hold back and let him finish. There is enough room for me to go through. The Volvo's taken up a very good position, and that's excellent. But then it makes it a little bit awkward for me, especially with the Volvo being so high. So lean in my seat. Yeah, totally fine with that. But now I'm going to change my speed out of the corner because I didn't want to cause them any issues. Didn't cause them any issues, but you're just making certain if you do a merge, and maybe they are catching you, alter how you do your acceleration coming out. We've got the school signs here on the right hand side, flashing amber lights. I am slowing, even though it's school holidays, even though no one should be there. I'm making my assessment before I then go. People are all behind the railings on the left hand side. Taxi, I'm looking for movement. They would have already come out if they were going to be a problem. The next green car's having a little move out, and there's no one else coming out of the junction. No point me rushing up towards these lights. Now I'm thinking, which lane's going to be best for flow? I'm just going to stay left. I don't think I would have been past the lorry up ahead. There's no issue if someone else wants to come past me. Now I'm being careful of lights changing. Yellow one's fine, no issues to the left hand side. No one else is catching me up on this right hand side as the road's going to narrow, so it should be fine. We've got the private hire that's just parked in on the bus stop. It's not going to be an issue. Other vehicles that are turning up ahead, I've already backed off and created a little bit of space. Don't forget, whenever I do these drive like a driving instructor videos, yes, I am verbalizing what I'm doing, but I cannot verbalize all the things that I'm taking in. It's impossible to speak that quickly unless you're Eminem. So let's get switched on up again. We've got a junction a little bit further up with some traffic lights that are no. The vans just come out this way. Lights are on green. I'm more than likely thinking that they could change, especially with the gap between me and the white car in front. Van here to the left has seen me and slowed. I've slightly reduced just to be ready for these lights changing, and then again back on it. The crossing up ahead hasn't been activated. There's no one there, but that doesn't mean it's not going to change. I'm going to keep to the left hand side. I was always ready to stop, even though no one had pressed the button. Those button lights might be broke. You just don't know. So look at everything. Wherever there is a junction, always be careful. There's always risk. There's always potential problems. Nothing here. We've seen the red Ford, or the pinky red Ford, come out of the road on the right. That's all fine. Watching the next one, the van to the right hand side. They're coming this way. Crossing's fine, and the lights up ahead again are on green. Big gap in between us and the Ford. They're likely going to change. So I am going to go ahead at these traffic lights. I'm never going to try and race and make it, but as risk increases, I should be slowed to sort out the grey one. Not an issue, not a problem. People make poor decisions. We're not all going to be doing things perfectly, so the good drivers accommodate for that. All right, risk and change in speed for risk is the thing that I've been wrecking my learners' heads with over the last little bit as well. There's too much routine stuff that goes on. They get used to pressing a pedal at a set amount, and they don't change to suit. It's the same approach in junctions as well. I've been doing a ton of work with getting them to assess the different stages of approach. You may have seen this before: A, B, C and D. A, defo clear. D, defo stopped, where you go in handbrake neutral. And then B and C usually cycle in between. C is super closed junction, can't see, where you're effectively putting it into first gear and creeping. And B is that junction that's a little bit more open. You can maybe see a little bit more, it's less sharp, there's more likelihood of you being able to keep things moving, and that's where you're still slowing down, but you're hedging your bets a little bit. You're probably using second gear a majority of the time. So we're going to get working when these lights change, which isn't going to be long. Lorries are stopped. We had the red and green men go to a red man, and now I'm just adjusting my speed peripherally. I've had a little check in that right mirror, just with the Kia to my right hand side. Okay. Not sure why she was in the right hand lane to then do a left turn. Perhaps she changed her mind. We'll give her the benefit. School patrol sign's not on. Junction, I might be blocked view-wise by this white one. It's an awkward angle, especially if they're let out by the Vauxhall coming the other way. So I was watching carefully, and what I was looking for with that white one was a change in movement. We're talking about change in speed ourselves, and it's exactly the same thing that I'm looking for, or from that white car, to determine whether or not that risk is increasing. If risk is increasing, what should I be doing with my speed? It's simple, should be slowing down. If risk is decreasing, I can get on with it and up to the speed limit. So this junction up ahead, we are going to be doing a right turn. It's not quite clear in the middle section of road. I am going to choose the left hand side because the Peugeot has chosen the right. So it also allows a little area here. Yeah, we're good. It also allows a little area here to my right hand side for people. Just checking this side because of this parked vehicle. I couldn't solely use lane 1, so I had to make sure that there was no one to the side of me. The famous Broadway roundabouts, Norris Green. I'm going ahead at the first, left at the second. If you do your lessons around here, this is a turn that they don't do on driving tests. And I've said before, because it contradicts really where the examiners want you in lane 2 to go in the other direction. Not going to go there today. So I'm looking to see whether there's any issues. Darkened windows are a problem, but I did it all off movement. Is the taxi going to turn left from there? The Peugeot is. That's poor. They shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be turning left from a right-hand lane. So what am I doing with the taxi? I'm creeping, and I'm just giving them the chance. I'm just watching them. And I changed the rate of my acceleration to suit. I'm doing the same now because the road's narrowing with this white one to my right. So I'm staying quite positive, but I'm always ready to submit and hold back. White ones submitted and come back in. So you need to do this. It's a difficult skill when you're a novice driver, but it is something that you do learn as you get a little bit more experience. But I honestly think that people take this too far. There's a big difference between being positive like I was with my acceleration and the white one behind and being aggressive. Massive difference. But people then take it to that aggressive stage and shut spaces down where they're not doing it for best traffic flow, they're doing it for their own traffic flow. There's a big difference with this. So I'm going to get to the end and turn left. Excuse me. Okay, I'm still watching either side. You may have seen me have a little check. I'm always checking for cyclists either side or scooters. Look after the more vulnerable. Now it's pretty awkward view here as well, and although I've got priority, I'm always going to keep an eye on peripherally first of all, seeing the car coming, and then I'm going to be looking as well. What's that fella actually done? He's held back. He's looking for eye contact with me, but I've just really told him a little indication that he can go first by not moving up with the Peugeot. Got a little bit of eye contact with him. He hasn't looked at me yet. It's okay, we can do that now. So it's difficult to see with glasses. Take them off. You're all right, mate? Still checking to make sure there's no one else. So at these lights we're going to turn left. Risk is increasing, so I'm making sure my speed is decreasing to match that risk. Can't be seen by this one, just making sure. Yes, no one coming through on the left. Cyclist was fine. Off we go into the new road. The white one was looking to overtake before. Maybe they're going to be looking to overtake again. I've been positive with my speed. Now, one thing I'd like to talk about, it's one thing that I constantly do, talk with my hands. I would like to have a quick talk about this in this video as well. You may see me on occasions. I've said many times that my habit is to have my hands quite low. But have you noticed when risk increases, I'm primed and I'm ready? And I'm not saying that that's necessarily the best thing, but because I'm that perceptive of what's going on all the time, I don't give myself a break up in here and with the observations. There are certain times, like now, where I could come to a stop, no issues around me. I could put the handbrake on and I could take my hands off the wheel. Now, where does this stand with advanced tests? I'm not actually sure with IAM and ROSPA. The people who have a background in that may very well be able to give some information, but for me there's no issues here. You cannot be that wooden all the time. If your hands are up here, you drive for 2 hours, you're going to be aching, you're going to be tense. Change, adapt. Now that's my way of doing it. If you take two hands off though, is going to fail an ADI Part 2 driving instructor exam, and you're more than likely going to be failing an L test as well. So at least one hand on the wheel, but there's no issue about having them low for me, as long as you're ready to put them back and deal with anything that comes up. Okay, so let's anticipate the bus. No one's to my right hand side. I've got an escape route, can't see anything in the bus that's saying it's going to park, but I'm watching carefully the white Mercedes to my right. It's getting a little bit of an awkward one now, so I'm just ready. No, bus isn't parking, we're good. Okay, so where are bus stops? Don't think on the left. I always ask that question and people go, on the left? No, they're near junctions. There's another bus stop coming up, so I'm just showing the vehicles around me where I'd like to go if this bus parks in, and they do. I'm watching this one. This is the danger. This one's coming in. They absolutely want to come in, so I'm accommodating. Go on if you want, not a problem. Okay, not an issue. They didn't in the end, but notice how I'm reducing that risk. So where are bus stops? Bus stops are near junctions. There's going to be a bus stop around this junction. There is just there, so people who live down that road haven't got far to walk to come off and get a bus. So think near junctions, think near supermarkets, think near schools. And what you should be doing is what I did with that bus there. I created a little bit more space, because if I've got more space, I've got more time. I was constantly aware of who was to my right hand side. And also I picked up on little clues, or was trying to, inside the bus. I'm looking for people standing up, looking for people pressing the button. When the pedestrian in the bus presses the button to ask the bus driver to stop, the word stopping illuminates in the bus. You can often see it as a driver, so you're a step ahead if you see that the bus is going to stop at the next bus stop. Okay. Notice I'm just trying to keep back of the higher risk up ahead. Everyone's always in a big rush to get there, but planning always beats progress. Just aware of the black Mercedes to my right now as well. I would rather them be in front. Now I am going a little bit, I'm going to head a little bit further up, and local knowledge is saying to me that the left lane at the second major set of lights turns left. So I'm watching the Mercedes now, because they had a little dive back. I'm staying behind them and then rolling in at their speed, because then that reduces risk if they're just going to pop it across to the left hand side. So my local knowledge says that the left lane becomes a left turner a bit further up. So I'm looking for the best time, for best flow to get out, and it's now. I'm going to see what this van does. Yep, it's holding back. Thank you, sir. At certain times of day, the traffic is not visible queuing here. So what would I do if I didn't know that? Well, I'd continue in the left, and I'd then pick the best moment. So all the people who know that this is the case around here, don't forget that there could be people who are driving in the area who don't know. This van driver who just let me in could be doing the same. Not sure. So I'm going to accommodate for the best flow for everyone. No issues. There wasn't much risk with that as well. And have you noticed, risk is quite low when you create space. There's a big link to it, and that's why we talk about separation distances all the time. But people think they've got to push up, they've got to keep up with the flow really close to people, because that's going to enable them to get to their destination a little sooner. It's exactly the opposite. It's the other way. Even in queues, notice me here, hands off the wheel. For me, no issues. People say, oh, if you get hit from behind. If you get hit from behind, I don't really want my hands on the wheel, because all of that impact is then going to go through my arms and shoulders, rather the airbag sorted out in the seatbelt. In any case, so yeah, even in a queue, people have often said to me, I'm going to talk about the bus in a second, people often say to me, why do you stop so far back? Stopping close actually stops you having an ability to keep up with the flow. If you start from further back, you can see better, you can start to be on the move and creep. That bus has got no choice but to stop at that bus stop. Go on then, taxi driver. There's no in the world he didn't know that, so he's a pusher. It's as simple as that. Now we're going to deal with the bus as well, because there's no in the world that that bus had any other opportunity other to, well, not opportunity, they had no other choice but to go down that left lane and use the bus stop. So I wish we would all take public transport a little bit more. I know that seems counterintuitive to what I do. I run a driving school and want people to come and learn to drive, but honestly that's not the bigger picture for me. If we all took public transport rather than the cars, we're going to cut down on emissions, we're going to make our world a little bit better place. Use your car if you have to. That's my little stance on it. So this bus, still got a left signal on at the bus stop, I'm still watching him. I'm going to do my utmost to let them go. If they move forward and up, perfect. They're now looking to be let in, and if no one else accommodates, I'm absolutely going to. Let's see whether Mr. Pusher in the taxi is going to then accommodate someone else who's had no choice but to do that, but he did have a choice. He knows exactly that that's a left turner, and I let them in. Let's see whether this taxi driver lets the bus out. Traffic is going to change, lights are going to change within a number of seconds, because I've just seen the filter traffic coming to an end from the opposite side, so we're not going to be long. I'm also going to keep an eye on this van to my left. He could also be one of those people who just pushes. Well done, taxi driver. Good man. Checking if there's anyone else. This red one to my left. No, they've turned off. Well done, sir. I know you're trying to get your people to your or their destination, and I sort of get that as well. It does encourage taxi drivers to bend the rules a little bit, but honestly, let's see what this Fiesta does now. Yeah, it's holding back. Not a problem. Notice again that was made easier by the distance that I was travelling behind. So that was a nice situation. Full credit to the taxi driver in front. You know, at the end of the day, they're a professional driver. They should understand that best flow for everyone is honestly best flow for them. And too many people don't go with that. So what have we got over the brow of the flyover? The Fiesta's holding back. I've always got an escape route. I'm always looking for that as well. Always keep an eye on things that side. I do know that the road joins, and honestly, even if I didn't know, I would expect that. Where you're going over a flyover, you've got roads joining, it's going to happen. So constantly know where this one is to your offside. Keep up with the flow as well. Learner drivers often drive too slowly, and therefore everyone else is catching them up, and then it's difficult. This white one, no, it's fine. I'm okay with the G-Wagon to my side. They've dropped in behind. I'm still sort of in a blind spot area with the white one, so I'm just ready for that one to come out. I'm fine in lane 2 for now. So notice I was just tweaking my position there to suit risk. Too many people just go, my priority, my lane, just carry on. If you do that, you're not good enough. You've got room for improvement. People don't like saying, or hear me, or they don't like me saying that in the comments, when I said many a times, point a finger at a particular area of weakness of people, and then people get offended by you. I'm fine, I'm good, I can drive. No, there's always stuff that you can do better. So we're fine around, watching the road narrow. Now, how can I make it better? Going back into lane 1. Rather than battle with that scenario, it's not an issue. This Toyota's travelling closely to the Hyundai, so I'm Hyundai, sorry, nowadays. You're just used to saying it, aren't we? Anyway, I'm just again creating space. I'm just aware of this Micra to my right. They've zoomed past me and now they've sat next to me. What should I do? What would you do? Stay this side of them on the roundabout, or ahead of them, whatever is going to happen. Ahead of them, so it can be seen. I don't want them right next to me. Oh, they are right next to me. and she's waving her hands. No number plate on the front. So it's interesting, I went past that second junction. It is slightly past 12 o'clock, but that is not a right turn. Interesting. Notice what I was doing to reduce risk by staying in front. What was she doing? The exact opposite. She was putting herself in a situation where she was going to have more risk. Not good. But can you spot certain little clues? I did call it before the roundabout. Okay, so the more you can look out for these little bits of risk and things that are escalating and adjust your speed, the better. Just notice my thought process on the roundabout. I wasn't ever wanting to be next to her, and my position, although I think if it was slightly back there, that could have been an absolute classic for us just to turn straight across in front of me. But notice it was what I did with the speed of my car that effectively nullified that, because I was out in front of her, not in a blind area. This white one to my right, that was the one before on my left hand side, creating space with this black one in front. The more I can hold back, the quicker I can flow. Now I'm just watching people at this scenario as well. Not going to go too quick, although I'm only doing 36 with this one. Not going to undertake. Not going to go past because it increases risk. So you're all right scratching my other hand at that point with where I am. Yeah, Volkswagen's tucked it in behind. That's okay. A little bit close, and the traffic's queuing downhill, so I'm just slowing earlier. Again, reducing risk, changing what I'm doing to suit my surroundings. Am I able to keep things moving? Probably. After these two, there's a big gap. So you know when your gap's on its way, take your time getting there, and then you reduce that risk massively. How many vehicles get hit from behind when they suddenly stop compared to vehicles getting hit from behind when they keep moving? Watching people around multi-lane junctions, slowing early again. This one's a little close. I'm slowing them down and then trickling and rolling away. And I changed how I did my braking there twice because of the I feel invincible person driving the SUV behind me. Here's a little thought. You might be able to see it from the main camera. This lady to my right hand side, how close is she sitting to that steering wheel? Wow. Why do people do that, by the way? Any idea? It's so they get a better view over the front. People often think it's to reach the pedals. There's no in the world she is that small. She needs to sit that close. And it can be a danger as well. If the airbag goes off and you are that close, it may not have a chance to deploy and work properly. Try not to sit further to increase that view over the bonnet. Wasn't going to rush the pedestrians, checking for people around. What lane? Lane 2, because we've got parked ones. So looking further up the road. In fact, I'm just going to come back to a straddle position because I'm in charge now of where I need to go with the cyclist and the parked cars. And me being in this straddle position protects the cyclist as well. If you need to use the other lane, great, but there are some scenarios just like that where taking up that straddle position actually deters people. I'm just going to lane change because I am meeting at the Tesco a little bit further up. There are some scenarios where in the straddle position you deter people coming through on that left hand side, so use it if you need to. Any risk behind, no one's close, so I can please myself with how I do the braking, but I'm still always going to do the most I can to just keep rolling. Am I able to stop after the mini behind stops? I think I did. Just a little safer. All right, so don't know how long we've been going there, maybe half an hour-ish, 30, 35 minutes. Okay, I hope you get an idea from that video of what I'm looking at and how I should be, and you should be as well, adjusting speed. Hopefully I've answered the question about my hands down. It's not something that I would teach people to do. It's just one of my habits and how I relax on the road. You don't have to be tense. This one to my right, notice what I did with my acceleration. Just keeping back, giving them the option to come round the bus. I'm not bothered. Lights are on red anyway. So it's not all about getting there first. It's all about best flow for everyone. This black Audi to my left hand side, I'm going to give him the option to see whether he would like to come all the way over to this lane. He's waving people on, that's fine. No issues. So hopefully that's been useful. I'm going to get off and go and do some part 3 training, and then probably edit this video later. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Keep safe. Put those things into practice if you can, and I'll see you soon.